You okay? What are you crying for? Well, here, come talk to me. What's wrong? How come you're crying? And you're barefoot?
I'm just trying.
Where do you live at? What's your address? 55, so I'm out at Rambling and Rustic with that female. Just slow down and talk to me. Okay, well, here, hold on, okay? You're not in trouble, but you gotta stay right here, okay? You can't go walking off, okay? You gotta stay right here, okay?
Okay, why are you hurting me?
No, I'm not hurting you.
Okay, can I call my
You can't leave. How old are you?
I'm 18.
You're 18? Where's your mom live?
Can I call her? I don't want you to hurt me.
You can't walk off. I'm not gonna hurt you, okay? But you can't walk off like that, okay?
I don't want you to hurt me.
I'm not gonna hurt you, okay?
Okay,
I'm here to make sure you're okay. You can get in the grass, that's fine. So we got a call that you were jumping out in front of cars, so I can't let you go walking off on me now,
Can I go home?
Well, where do you live?
I don't want to tell you.
Okay, so you can't go anywhere, okay? You gotta talk to me. Okay?
Let me call my sister. I don't want you to hurt me.
I'm not gonna hurt you, okay? Okay. Stop pulling away.
I don't want you to hurt me.
I'm not gonna hurt you. If you keep pulling away, I gotta put you in handcuffs, though. Okay? Stop pulling away. Stop pulling away. Okay?
No, you're hurting me already.
Pull away. All right?
You're hurting me already. You're hurting me.
Okay?
No, the police is hurting
55, so can I get a 40 unit over here? Here. Just sit down. Sit down, okay? Sit down, okay? Sit down, okay? Look, I'm trying not to hurt you. I gotta just sit down, okay?
You're hurting me already.
Sit down, okay?
Why was your camera not on you while you were on top of my daughter? Why was your camera? You had your camera
Put your knees up in front of you.
Please do.
Stand up. There you go. We're walking back over to this car right here.
Okay, can you loosen it?
We'll adjust him in a minute. Let go of her. Let go of her.
And I didn't touch you. I touched my daughter when she said they were too tight. I did not touch you.
You were pulling your daughter away.
I wasn't pulling her away.
You were.
Sir, was I pulling her away when I told you to could you loosen the cuffs? Was I pulling her away? I was just touching her to calm her down.
And when I moved you back, you reached out and hit me.
No,
okay?
you pushed me.
I did. I pushed you back. You can't be holding on to her like that,
You could
okay?
have asked me to move back.
New at 5, the city of Beverly Hills and members of its police department are being sued by an African-American couple who claimed that they were profiled and then unjustly arrested by police for riding scooters on Rodeo Drive. Their attorney says it's all part of a larger pattern of police targeting people of color. NBC4's Patrick Healy reports.
I'm a nurse. I've never been to jail or prison ever in my life.
Jasmine Williams and her significant other Khalil White are the faces of a lawsuit asserting racial profiling by police in Beverly Hills. They said they were on Rodeo Drive in the famed luxury shopping district on vacation from Philadelphia, riding scooters as this guy is, when police stopped and arrested them, both jailed for a night.
Driving a scooter on the sidewalk. Let that set in for a minute.
Nationally prominent civil rights attorney Ben Crump is on the legal team.
The judge immediately dismissed the charges because he knew, like they knew, the only reason this young black couple was arrested in Beverly Hills was because they were black.
In a written statement, the police chief contends the arrest came during a second encounter after the couple got a verbal warning and then gave false information.
I searched for shopping at the store I work for and just being black.
But the attorneys cite other encounters the past year, including a fashion industry executive stopped on Rodeo for jaywalking. The suit alleges a pattern of police targeting people of color with task forces that Gage said he has been told arrested 106, 105 of them black.
Black individuals should not be treated differently because they happen to be black and in Beverly Hills.
The captain named in the suit has previously said he's leaving the department. Tuesday, the assistant chief announced he's resigning to work in the private sector. Chief Dominic Ravetti's statement made no mention of the departures nor the alleged arrest numbers, but stated the Rodeo Task Force was created to better respond to increased calls for service, and that police take an oath to enforce the law regardless of race. The legal team is asking anyone who believes they were racially profiled by Beverly Hills police to come forward and join the class in this suit. In Beverly Hills, Patrick Healy, NBC4 News.
Newly released body camera footage of Los Angeles police arresting a black man who was simply taking out the trash. TJ Holmes talked to Antone Austin and his girlfriend about the incident, and he joins us now with more. Good morning, TJ.
Good morning, Stray. And add now to the lexicon of hashtags, taking out the trash while black. We're about to show you video of an incident that took place nearly 2 years ago, but we're only seeing it now as part of a racial profiling lawsuit against the LAPD. Many parts of this you will find disturbing and chilling to hear police admit as they're arresting this man that we don't know who we're looking for.
You're hearing the desperate screams of Antone Austin, a black man who was simply taking out his trash when two Los Angeles police officers approached to arrest him. Relax! This newly released body cam footage shows part of the disturbing incident from May of 2019. The LAPD was responding to a domestic violence call. But police spot Austin from their vehicle taking out his trash and listen as they decide to approach him.
This dude, probably. Turn around because I told you to. Turn around. What are you doing, bro? I live here. All right, we got a call. We got a. Okay, man. I don't know who I'm looking for yet. Come on, step. Turn around, man. What is your problem, dude?
You hear the officer admit he doesn't have a suspect description, but continues to arrest Austin, who continues to question the police. Tensions rise.
Michelle, dude, what are you doing?
Austin yells for help. His girlfriend says she heard Austin's screams from the shower and rushed outside, trying to intervene, and ends up in the struggle and is disrobed in the process.
Stop. For what? What are you taking it for?
Both were arrested. The couple is now suing the city of Los Angeles.
What was your reaction once you went back and actually saw it all play out and you got to actually hear the officers in the car before they got out?
In your mind, you want to say to yourself, you know, the first thing, this happened because I'm black. And then you won't want to be that petty. You don't want to be that small. We don't want to really believe that people's thinking is really that on that low of a scale, right? And then when you watch the footage and you hear the guy in the car, you know, like the girl in the 911 call told them to go to a restaurant that was 3 blocks away from my house.
Austin's neighbor, who made that initial 911 call about her ex-boyfriend, did not give a description of him to the dispatcher. That neighbor can be seen in the video telling the officers Austin was not the man she called about, but they continue with the arrest. The attorney for Austin calls this a clear case of racial profiling.
Police should not roll up and immediately think that this person is a criminal. And unfortunately, that's exactly what LAPD did.
Neither Los Angeles police nor city attorneys are commenting to ABC News. Austin fought for the release of this footage and says he's relieved the public now gets to see what he went through.
It's crazy that they can just convict you when they're supposed to be there to act mediator, there to serve, protect, find out what's going on. You know, that they in their minds are the judge and the jury, and they're going to convict you on the spot based off what you look like. It's really eye-opening, you know. It changed the way I look at a lot of things.
The city of Los Angeles did fight the release of that video, saying it would have a chilling effect on investigations, police investigations down the road, and it was against policy anyway. Now, Tone and his girlfriend have since moved from that neighborhood. They are seeking $3 million in damages, but they also simply want an apology, which they have not got. And guys, one other thing, their attorney says that the suspect the police were actually after was a white male.
Boy, you can see why they didn't want that tape out.
Yeah. And that's why body cams are so important for a lot of reasons, but that is a very specific one.
Exactly. Makes you shake your head.
Tonight, an arrest at a local McDonald's is blowing up on social media, some calling it racial profiling. This happened last Friday in Grand Rapids.
News 8's Whitney Burney joins us now from the newsroom to walk us through it. Whitney?
Well, Brian and Sue, that chaotic scene unfolded at the McDonald's near the Woodland Mall on 28th Street. In the clip, you can see a young man laying on the ground while people frantically yell that police have the wrong guy. The video now viewed almost 200,000 times. Grand Rapids police holding a man at gunpoint in a McDonald's parking lot on 28th Street, not far from the Woodland Mall. Employees in the background frantic, yelling, "Police have the wrong guy." They say he's an employee who was just there to pick up his check. Police say they were called to the area Friday afternoon for a burglary, and the man seen arrested in the video fit the suspect description. Police say he was uncooperative, which led to his arrest. News 8 is not naming the man arrested, but court documents show he's now facing charges for resisting arrest and malicious destruction of police property. In a statement, police said, "We understand that sometimes bystanders may be upset or concerned about a police contact, but that is not the time to engage or interfere with the officers. That could easily lead to someone getting hurt. GRPD officers will always listen to those who have information in order to ensure appropriate action is taken, but only once the scene is safe." Grand Rapids Police declined further comment as the Internal Affairs Unit investigates. The Office of Oversight and Public Accountability says they received a complaint and are also looking into the incident. Now, court documents show the man arrested in that video is supposed to be arraigned tomorrow afternoon. At the live desk, Whitney Burney, News 8.
NBC.
The state of Florida is investigating a police shooting in North Miami. A Hispanic officer shot and wounded an unarmed black man. The victim was a mental health worker who was trying to return an autistic patient to a group home. Jerika Duncan's following this.
This was the scene captured on cell phone video Monday. 47-year-old Charles Kenzie, unarmed, laying on his back, hands raised in the air. The younger man sitting next to him is autistic and escaped from a nearby facility. Kenzie is his caretaker there.
He has something in his hands. All units use caution. He has something inside of his hands.
Police say they were responding to a 911 call of a man with a gun threatening to commit suicide. An object can clearly be seen in the young man's hand. The object was a toy truck. At some point during the incident, one officer reportedly fires 3 shots, not seen on video, hitting Kenzie once in the upper leg. A second video shows police handcuffing both men. Kenzie is recovering at a local hospital.
I still got my hands in the air. I say, no, I just got shot. And I'm standing there, I'm like, sir, why did you shoot me? And his words to me, he said, I don't know.
Police Chief Gary Eugene has been on the job less than 2 months.
I want to make it clear there was no gun recovered.
The officer, a Hispanic male, has been placed on desk duty. Police Union Rep John Rivera.
This is a case where a police officer was trying to save Mr. Kinsley's life, and unfortunately, his shot went astray.
As long as I got my hands up, they're not going to shoot me. This is what I'm thinking. They're not going to shoot me. Wow, was I wrong?
Today, U.S. Attorney General Loretta Lynch said she is aware of the incident and that her department is monitoring the investigation. Scott, the state attorney's office says any charges against the officer would only be determined after a thorough investigation.
Jerika Duncan with the story tonight. Jerika, thank you.
The president said interactions between police officers and the African-American community can sometimes be fraught with misunderstanding. Because of our history, he said, African Americans are sensitive to these issues. Here's Pierre Thomas.
Survive the encounter, get justice later. In some black homes, that's the advice when dealing with police, even in 2009.
Be polite in front of the police. Your life may depend on it.
Paul Butler, a Harvard-trained former federal prosecutor, recalls being arrested in front of his home after a dispute with a neighbor over a parking space. No questions asked.
When the police came out, they saw a black man, and as soon as they saw me, it's like they wanted to arrest. They didn't even want to listen to what I had to say.
Though there's been progress in race relations, encounters between blacks and police officers remain complicated.
Well, the first thing that goes through a black person's mind is that they suspect that they were racially profiled. That's just the reality of the situation.
Why? There's history, especially the painful memories of the civil rights movement. And today's reality. Black males are incarcerated at roughly 7 times the rate of their white counterparts. 76% of blacks in a recent ABC News poll said African Americans do not receive equal treatment from police as whites do. Scott Newman, a hotel manager, described being pulled over by police.
Pulled over for no reason whatsoever, not speeding, and they just unpacked my entire car for no reason at all, looking for drugs or something, but found nothing.
Victoria Bostic's father was a cop. She recalled growing up in New Jersey.
The officers were very vigilant about, African Americans, people of color in general. I mean, you saw it all the time. I mean, they were always being pulled over. So I cautioned my daughter.
The instructions are quite specific.
Do not get sarcastic. Do not be, over the top. Be respectful, and just keep it under the radar.
The fear for some blacks is that real. Pierre Thomas, ABC News, Washington.
In Fort Worth, Texas tonight, a police officer has been put on restricted duty after a confrontation with a woman who had called him for help. Here's Manuel Bajorquez.
My son is 7 years old. You don't have the right to grab him, choke him behind no paper that he threw.
Jacqueline Craig called Fort Worth police Wednesday afternoon to complain about a man grabbing her son after he allegedly littered.
Why don't you teach your son not to litter?
He can't prove to me that my son littered, but it doesn't matter if he did or didn't. It doesn't give him the right to put his hands on it.
This is a copy of the cell phone video a family member recorded as the situation escalated. It's unclear whether it's been edited.
Because you just pissed me off telling me what I teach my kids and what I don't.
If you keep yelling at me, you're going to piss me off.
Craig's 15-year-old daughter then stepped in between her and the officer, and a struggle broke out. The officer pulled his taser. It's unclear whether he used it. He then arrested Craig, her daughter, and the woman recording. They were charged with resisting arrest and have been released.
I was hurt about the whole matter. I don't feel like justice was served.
The family's attorney, Lee Merritt, called for the officer's arrest.
Unfortunately, we have seen over and over again for African Americans that they're not afforded the same protection under the law as other citizens.
Fort Worth police have placed the unidentified officer on restricted duty pending an internal investigation, adding, "We acknowledge that the initial appearance of the video may raise serious questions. We ask that our investigators are given the time and opportunity to thoroughly examine this incident and submit their findings." It's unclear whether the man Craig accused of touching her son will face any charges. Scott, this afternoon, Fort Worth police issued a safety alert to officers after someone who viewed the video posted a threat online.
Manuel Bajorquez, thanks.
Open the door, get out the car!
U.S. Army officer Caron Nazario was driving on a dark road in rural Virginia last December when police pulled him over for a missing license plate. What happened next, he and his attorney say, was a case of racial profiling and police brutality.
My hands are right here. What's going on?
Get out of the car now!
I'm honestly afraid to get out. Can I?
Yeah, you should be. Get out!
Windsor, Virginia police officer Joe Gutierrez pepper sprayed Lieutenant Nazario, even though his hands were raised and he was not resisting.
Get out of the car!
Don't reach in there. My hands are out, please. Please, look. This is really messed up. My dog is in the back. My dog is choking right now.
Get out of the car!
Nazario repeatedly asked the policeman why he was being assaulted.
Get out of the car right now! Now!
This is not how you treat a vet. I'm actively serving this country, and this is how you're going to treat me? I didn't do anything. Whoa, hold.
The policeman ordered Nazario, who was unarmed and wearing his military uniform, out of the car and knocked him to the ground.
Why am I being treated like this? Why?
You're not cooperating. Get on the ground.
Why am I being treated like this?
Nazario has sued the Windsor police for violating his constitutional rights, alleging assault and illegal detention.
He was not resisting in any way, shape, or form. His hands are clearly visible, and he is the one that remains calm when these men are threatening his life. It's absurd.
Nazario, who was not charged in the incident, says the policeman threatened to damage his reputation in the military if he told anyone about how he was treated.
They knew they were in the wrong, and then they threatened to destroy a man's career if he called him out on it.
Nazario had temporary license plates displayed on his vehicle. Virginia's governor has ordered an independent investigation. The Windsor Police Department has not responded to news media requests for comment. Officials from the town of Windsor, Virginia say Gutierrez has been fired. Rob Reynolds, Al Jazeera.
374 slow them down.
It was a tense scene in upstate New York last April as Ramapo police can be seen on dash cam video approaching a car filled with 4 passengers wearing bulletproof vests. Guns drawn, all signs pointed to a serious situation.
All other units with caution. All other units with caution.
The video shows one person getting out of the car with his hands up. Minutes later, audio from a second dash camera reveals the situation is not what it appears.
Hey, all units that are not at that location, you can disregard.
The car's occupants are 4 New York State parole officers out executing a search warrant. Those officers say they were stopped because they are African American.
There's no doubt if I was Caucasian
that I would not be standing here.
All 4 officers say they immediately identified themselves to Ramapo police, were wearing their shields, and offered to show identification.
No matter what we did to show or verify that we were, the aggressive treatment continued.
I was violently pulled out of the vehicle, and I was slammed against the vehicle.
The parole officers filed a civil suit against the Ramapo Police Department and the city, alleging their civil rights were violated.
They were assaulted and battered at gunpoint. Mario Alexandre was dragged out of his government vehicle.
Despite the allegations, the dashcam video made public by police does not appear to show parole officer Mario Alexander being slammed against a vehicle.
Now, at what point were you assaulted or battered?
Well, assault in the civil context of the law is being threatened with force. That's an assault.
Ramapo police say they made the stop because they were responding to this 911 call.
And I saw just a plain Chevy Nova, was that what it was? An Impala car with 4 big people get out of it, and I thought they had bulletproof vests and shields on.
The 911 caller did not identify any of you by race.
We can only go at the moment from the tape that was released by the people that we are suing.
Ramapo police referred CNN to the city's attorney, who says the actions of the police officers involved were reasonable under the circumstances. There was a 911 call indicating suspicious activity. The attorney also says the parole officers had not notified the police they would be in town, a common courtesy, and were allowed on their way promptly after they were identified. Neither the parole officers nor their attorney would say how long they were held, but they were clear on how they felt they were treated.
And Aaron, the attorney representing the parole officers, says that they will not indicate how much that they are suing the police for, but they say at the very least these officers should be disciplined for what happened that day. Aaron?